Yesterday I uploaded a video of me juggling with a whole juggling act with a magnet juggling contraption, and lots of people responding, "Oh, this is great, glad you've been working on this." It turns out that video is 5 years old, 6 years old probably. I just never uploaded it before to YouTube. And yesterday I was doing a podcast for the Patreon exclusive juggling podcast, and I was mentioning that I'd been invited to perform in a gala show, an online gala show, and I was like, oh, I could just send them this video. Ah, no, but that's an old one, I won't bother doing it, nobody's interested in that. So I just thought I was inspired by that and uploaded it anyway. But it's an old video. The magnet machine has been sitting since we moved house away from Berlin to just outside of Berlin. The magnet machine has been sitting in the bike shed for all that time. So, inspired by showing the video and all the questions that I've got about it, I thought I'd get the magnet juggling machine out, set it up and answer some questions.
Please step on the scale.
So the reason why I don't travel with this or perform it very much is because it weighs this much.
10.7 kilograms.
10.7 kilograms for one juggling act, considering normally a juggling act, or I can do a full, I can do a full 50 minutes show for within about 20 kilograms, including the case. An extra 10 kilograms is 50% more to do around about 3.5 minutes more juggling. So let's get it out. All right, that's an upright. This machine, the magnet machine didn't start off as a machine, it started off as an installation, or not an installation, it started off being installed inside of a big room, a big rotating room. And the room was meant to, it was rotated round so I could, you know, stand on the ceiling, lock off the camera, and, you know, I made a whole video of that with me juggling on the ceiling. Also you could bounce and do other kind of bounce stuff inside. But also the idea of walking around the ceiling, one idea that I came up with, I think in a discussion with someone, or someone sent me an email once saying, hey, what you should do is have electromagnets on your feet and you could walk around the ceiling and stuff like. So this in
spaceships.
Yeah, like in spaceships, like the like in the Expanse or something. Yeah, you always have these mag boots and you can walk around on the ceiling and things like that. Ooh. Which oh yeah, that's part of the base. Part of the base. It turns out electromagnets, what a pain to work with. Looked into that, was never going to work. In fact, also magnetic boots walking around the ceiling, never going to work. But I use that as an inspiration to start off with this magnet juggling machine, and I think this is pretty much it. Oh yeah, oh, this is where the magic happens. So this was the first thing that I made. Electromagnets are a real big pain to work with. They need a lot of power, it's kind of a lot of precision, and like I say, just a pain to work with. So instead what I realized is that when you throw something and it hits the top of a magnet, it sticks there, but then you need to separate it out. You need to separate the ball that's stuck to it. And these are these little, what do you call them? Let me get the juggling balls out. I actually keep the juggling balls in here. They're all stuck to it. So let's get some of the juggling balls and the bits and pieces out.
Magnetic balls.
They're not, actually that's the thing, they are not magnetic balls. They are non-magnetic balls. The magnets are in the panels. It doesn't work that way. So that's one of the key things to work out first of all.
It's a clever way to transport them, like you don't have them separate, you have them packed in there.
Well, I've become an expert traveller working on cruise ships. Let me do this again actually. Let me get these bits of string out because it's a bit tangled up here. What you need to do is if you're doing electromagnets, you can make it stick, but then you need to make it fall down again.
Yes.
Electromagnets, you can just turn off the magnet. But what I came up with was this way of pulling it apart. And the way it pulls it apart is that it uses these flexible panels. And these panels are actually like they're samples for like chopping boards or like kitchen surfaces. Go along to Bauhaus and you're going to get a kitchen surface and you're like, well, what do you want? And these are these panels. They cost like €1 each or €2 each. I guess you can use them for chopping boards. And they come like this. So there's actually a few layers of them. There's a layer back here, and then there's a bit of, you know, this is where the magnets are inside there. And then you get these 2 layers. The idea being that this sticks there, check it out, and then boom, and it pulls it off, okay?
Okay.
So there's a stick, and then a pull. And when I came up with that idea, I was feeling very, very impressed by myself. Now it seems like this is actually broken a bit. You can actually see the array of magnets here if we lift this up. They're these, I know, some kind of craft magnets or whatever, I can't remember where I bought them. You can see this is actually damaged a bit there, but that's a magnet, and I cut out these these holes out of a bit of cardboard and then put them between, because it turns out magnets, they take a lot of, it takes a lot to make sure that they don't all go and stick to each other. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like maybe 12 magnets on each side, which means that as long as I throw it and it sticks to like the inside of here, or to the end, it'll stick probably up to about there, and that'll work there. But then here, there's no magnets in the middle, it's only at the either ends. Okay, looks pretty good. The balls, I flew to New Zealand, and as I was arriving in New Zealand, I was like, do you have any biological produce? Do you have any plant matter, animal matter, anything like that? And I was like, oh yeah, I've actually got juggling balls, or juggling bean bags, and they're full of millet seeds. So I declared them. They said, well, you can either throw them out or you can empty them. And I was like, I'll empty them. And so I emptied them all out, and that's why I actually have so many of these. These are just normal bean bags. And on the inside of them, in fact, this one's broken a bit, so I can just show you. I tried lots of different fillings. I was like, fillings like metal mixed in with the millet, didn't work at all. You actually need a lot of metal. So what it is, it's this chain, you know, that you use like as dog leads or whatever like that. Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
Like that. It's just this, and this is a good mix of course, it has to be magnetic. No, it doesn't have to be magnetic. It has to be
metal.
Yeah, it has to be metal to be attracted to the magnets, to stick to the magnets. But it can't collapse down. Ball bearings, it turns out ball bearings just massively heavy, and they all just clump together, and they actually stick to the magnets too well. It spreads out, and then there's actually too much contact. So you need it to be a little bit collapsible, that it's flexible, that it can give a bit of a squish down. It needs to be the right weight, so the ball itself is the right weight for just juggling, so you can actually do the juggling. And also, yeah, it needs to compress onto it, stick to it a lot, but then have a lot of air in it. And after a lot of experimentation with like washers in there, ball bearings and stuff, this little lengths of chain. And the good thing is that also it's easier to get them inside of it, because when it's a chain, you can just kind of push it in. And bean bags, you don't normally push things into a bean bag, but a little length of chain. So there you go. I've got lots of these bean bags. Right. What I'm going to do now is build it up. When I had this built up in a room, it was stuck to the ceiling. In fact, I'll just play some video here. This is it here. This thing is on the ceiling, and then the device that was actually down on the floor, and I used my feet to press down on these things. However, it's impossible if you think this 10 kilograms is a lot to carry around for one act. Imagine carrying around an entire square room. In fact, I pretty much designed that room to fit into the van that I owned at the time. So that was going to be too much. So I had to come up with an idea where I could still perform this or still travel with it in some kind of frame. And I found an IKEA, what's this? It's like an IKEA...
Is it like a clothes...
Yeah, it's a clothes rack. An IKEA clothes rack. So now I've got to remember how to put this together, because I've not put this together like for 2 years or whatever it was the last time. So this is the basis of it. Then these ones go in here, and I have these braces that they always go down and just drop to the right size. Doesn't look very good, but in the final version of this act, I was going to cover those up. I'll explain that in a minute. So that goes down to there. I just realised there's a plastic bit, which is a bracket, that's broken off.
Oops.
This is broken. Here, this plastic bit is broken. There's meant to be like this bracket which locks in place, but it seems like it's broken off, so I won't be using it now at the high setting. I'll just use it at the low setting. All right, final section is this bit comes up and goes on top of here. So this hook goes with the bit of string there, so when this is up at the higher level, it holds it at this height, but now when it's down on this lower level, I just put this hook here, with the idea being that you can throw it up, the hooks, press it. Oh no, it's broken, it's stuck here. It's broken, it's actually not pulling. Oh no! Oh no, that's really broken. This side, I just realized it's a bit broken here. There's actually some elastic tension to pull these bits back up. So when that sticks there, you can pull it and it pulls away like this. And that's working pretty well. That's working pretty well. But there's some like elastic tension, and that tension has gone because again I've not used this for a few years, and now this bit here is broken. That side's working. Over here it's not working at all. If you just leave the weight here, it's constantly pulling down on this, and that's why there's some elastic which goes on the back. So I need to now, to make this work, thread the elastic through, and so it pulls this bit up here. So when it's here, it's there, and then I can pull it down and it goes away. But for it to stick, the elastic tension has to come up here at the back and hold it on. Now, me and Juliane, we really enjoy watching this channel called Winter Garden Wednesdays, which someone's making a marble machine which uses magnets to transport things around, and he's been discovering that having engineering tolerances, you need them to be as wide as possible, because if something only works if it's adjusted exactly right, it means that it's going to fail. And he wants to do a world tour and travel around with this big machine, and he wants to get it so it only fails like once every 10 million marble drops or something, and that means he can get through a concert. Now this is what I discovered with this. It's great that this machine works, but if every time I get it on my bag it might not be working, this might be cracked, this thing might be broken here. All of these things means that the engineering, the tolerances are way too wide. I mean, what am I trying to say? It has to be way better built than this. So if a bit of elastic snaps, it means that the show can't fail. And for someone who travels around the world, I need all my stuff not to be having this massive amount of chance to fail. My normal juggling props are balls and clubs and rings and diabolos, and I have spare diabolos and I have spare diabolo string, and I take a spare ring with me, all this different kind of stuff. It means that I never have to worry about stuff breaking. Machines like this look fantastic, and I really like the act. The reason I didn't perform it wasn't just because it was an extra 10 kilograms, it's just so much can go wrong with this. Like here, a bit of elastic snapped, and what's that going to be? I'm not even sure if I'm going to bother fixing it just to make it work for today, you know. Maybe I will. You see, it just doesn't work. Everything needs to be tuned perfectly, and you can't have everything tuned perfectly or else the entire show breaks down. This elastic, oh I see, the elastic has pulled back through here, which is, oh you're filming now again. So here's the elastic, and the elastic runs around here and then through a hole, then through like 2 holes. But what's happened is this entire bit of cardboard here, which is a strip that goes all the way down, which is holding all the magnets in place, has dropped down, which means that then this, oh no, there you go, it's pushing back up, so that's more in place. The elastic, I need to somehow thread it through there. And the way that I thread it through there is now I have to pop this thing off the end, this plastic bit off the end, pull this back this way to about here. Okay, now I need to thread the elastic through here. Where's the elastic gone? Oh, here it is. There was a little nail somewhere. Did you see where that little nail went? Mm-hmm. Yeah. There it is. Okay. I'm just going to take it apart. The easier way to film it isn't try and fix it as though I would do if I'm on the road. And that's exactly what in the marble machine videos Martin always says. He says the marble machine was a viral success, but an engineering disaster or an engineering failure, in that it worked perfectly for the amount of time it took for him to film, or to get all the footage to film it, and then it all just like exploded and broke. It took me a while to work this out. Juliane just says, hey, it's like you're reverse engineering how you built it. And I'm like, yeah, it is what it feels like. And I built this, the first version of this, in 2008. Came up with the idea like 2007 or whatever, built the first version in 2008, released the first video of this working thing in 2009, and then performed it for the first time maybe in 2011, 2012, I'm guessing. I performed it at the Karlsruhe Juggling Convention, took it along to the EJC, did it in the open stage there, went down well there. I'm not sure. Was that in Munich? No, that was in Lublin. In Lublin, and I even set this up in the juggling hall in Lublin for people to have a go on if they wanted to, just mainly because I didn't really have anywhere to set it up like in my tent or hostel or whatever I was staying in at the time. Alright, let's see, I've almost got this. It feels like I'm almost got this working again. Then I started working on it a bit more to with the idea of actually performing it professionally. So I made like a new choreography and with some new music. Okay, that's it. So that goes through there, and then without anything happening, I've got to slot it through the next hole, and then put that in there. That's why this. Oh no! And you see, then it gets stuck. I should do it with something that isn't magnetic. All right. So then that goes there, and then this needs to slide back through here. And then it's all ready to go.
I see. So the nail is a little counter thing that
it
makes
stops
sure
it going through.
Yes.
But also it allows me, once it's through there, it allows me to tension it by like pulling this up and tying extra knots here. Same as on this end, you can see here, when I'm tensioning it, I'm having to like bring this elastic up like tighter and looser. Let's pop this back in here, and it should be in working condition again. Except that's broken there. I might put a bit of tape on that. Yeah, this stuff.
Engineer's best friend.
It is. It's heard that gaffer's tape or duct tape is like the Force. It's got a light side and a dark side, and it holds the universe together. So this is a bit of a hanky solution just to make sure that crack doesn't. Oh look, I fucked up completely. Okay, that's pretty good. This is just to stop that crack moving along any further. All right, so here's another thing that happens. This bit here, the bits of string would get caught around that, which is terrible. So I always have to make sure that this is twisted to the outside so the string doesn't get caught in it. All right, does that look good? Are we there?
Looks like it.
All right, this is why it's been in the shed for 2 years, or in the cellar. When was the last time it was? It was like 3 years ago was the last time I set this up, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if I can still remember it. Is this straight at the top?
Yeah.
Doesn't feel straight.
Looks straight from this angle.
All right, let's see if I can do some of the tricks. Oh yeah, look. This is kind of how the routine starts. I can't remember the routine because literally the last time I did the routine was years ago. When I was choreographing it, I was like, I'm going to take full advantage of this box shape, sort of like having this square thing here. That's why all the tricks kind of begin and end with a box kind of thing. So here we go. Now, the difference between the first version where I was using my feet to do it was that because now I don't have my feet, so I also have to time this with my hands, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So with my feet, I could just be like doing some juggling, and then when I want that ball, I just press it with my feet, and it just drops down when I want it. Whereas now I've got to time it with both my hands, you know. So you've got to be able to see this motion here. Yeah, see?
Yes. Yeah. So I think there are like 3 rhythms going on. There's the juggling rhythm, then there's the hanging rhythm, but then also you need to put in the hands. Where is that fitting in?
Yeah. So there's lots of cool stuff here. I actually really like this kind of stuff because it gives a rhythm. Someone actually mentioned in a comment that I can get a rhythm which isn't normally based on my own juggling, because normally you've got to rely on gravity, the height of gravity, well not the height of gravity, the speed of the attraction of gravity, the acceleration of gravity, let me put this, over the height that you throw to get the timing. With here, there's like a different rhythm that you can come up with, which is like independent of gravity. If you remember in the video, there's actually like a whole load of balls lined up here, and that's how I'd be ready to perform and practice with. That I could always just have loads of spare balls here, so if one ball went wrong, oh, I've got a broken rib. That doing the back crosses actually hurts a bit. It means that if I ever need one, I can just grab another ball out of there. So another thing about performing and why this is a failure as a professional juggling prop for my show is that as you travel and as you just juggle, this all gets beaten up. Can you see like these scratches on here? Look, have a look at this kind of thing. It's like it all gets scratched up, and also it looks like what it is. It's an IKEA. It's an IKEA like portable clothes hanger. Yeah, and that is what it is. So what I did is I came up with this idea to kind of decorate it in some way with using these panels that I would kind of put on here in some way. I was never happy with this. I never actually used these, but these were kind of panels just to cover it up. But then it turns out when you cover up this thing, it looks more like a trick, and I actually quite like the fact that it is kind of just a bare frame, and you can rawness. The rawness of it works really well. But aesthetically, it's just bits of wood with panels. So in the future, if I was to rebuild this, it would definitely have to be like the magnet machine, magnet juggling machine X or something, like the same thing that they're doing with the marble machine. You have something made out of wood that's hacked together. Barely works good enough for a video, but for a live shows, live tours, it would all have to be done. So I don't have the CAD skills and the welding skills and all the 3D printed
No
parts.
CNC
I don't have CNC machines, so this won't happen for me. But if anybody else wants to take this design, you kind of understand the details of it now. 12 magnets each side, these kind of flat panels which pull it apart, some strings coming down. So if anyone else wants to just take this design and run with it, go for it. I'm not going to use it at all. Oh, that's the one with the hole in it. That's fun. There you go. That's the choreography at the start.
It is.
And you go. I don't remember it. Another reason I don't practice this so much is because it's kind of noisy.
It really is.
I mean, this is really fun. It's like some of the most satisfying juggling routines I've ever come up with. But yeah, kind of a little bit noisy. Not as bad as bounce juggling though. In the video that I shared with it, I wanted to make the noise of it as much as possible part of the routine. That's why I use this kind of dubstep kind of like that, and I could use this noise here as like the snare drum, and I used a track which references the sounds, 808 kick drum, 808 hat, or whatever it's the thing is like that, and I'm using these noises to be like that's a bass, that's a snare, that's a hi-hat kind of thing. So it was really using that track or using the sounds of this machine to like play into the musicality of like in the rhythm of this. Unfortunately, someone just commented that the person who made that track has now been as caught out as being a paedophile and a sex offender or something like that, which is a bit of a pity, but you don't know that when you make the routine 12 years ago or whatever.
Obviously not, no.
12 years in advance, you don't know that you're going to be using a song by Chris Brown at your wedding or something like that. Is it Chris Brown? Maybe. Now I'm going to slander some people without noticing. So this is another thing that goes wrong, is that sometimes you hit it and it's good enough to get the magnet, but then this tension isn't quite right and the distance isn't quite right to really pull it all the way down. So then you've just got to reach up and grab it. Juliana?
Yeah?
I think it's your turn.
Oh no. Not that juggling is already enough of like coordination and stuff, but now you also have to press this.
Yeah, just do it with one ball. Just do it with one ball. All right, that's good. Pretty good. Yeah. This one here is a bit broken. You can see the tension is a bit weird. So just do it with your right hand over there.
That's left hand. Left hand.
Oh, okay, left hand. Yeah. I asked you if it's straight. It's not been straight this entire time.
Well, my eyes feel like it is straight. Oh god.
I was hit. Yeah, if you keep doing it on the back of your hand, you actually damage your knuckles. So do it with this meaty part of the side of your hand. Meaty part. That's what I learned.
Oh, you do like karate.
Yeah, like a chop, because then you're hitting meaty part of hand rather than knuckles of hand. Is that good? And also you can do that with a ball in your hand. If you have a ball in your hand, you can do that too. Like do that. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Well, you don't need to put your finger out, but go for it.
Oops.
It's good.
Oh, it's difficult to actually...
Just throw it straight up. Don't aim, just throw up. Just throw straight up. Well, you put your hands underneath where the magnets are and then just throw straight up. It's less about aiming. Oh. I think that's... You think
it's less about aiming, but it is about... Oh, no.
No, I think it's in the bad spot again. Remember, successful enough for enough time to get a good video. Nice!
I think that's as much as I can get. I don't think I can incorporate that into 3-ball juggling.
Do a cross though. You've done cross throws. No. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's it. Good. See if you can do this once. 3-ball juggling.
Yeah.
Throw it to this side. Don't bother that side. That side's broken.
Okay.
3-ball juggling. Throw it to that side. No, you've got to stand with your hand underneath here. So come to the right a bit. And when you throw, you're going to throw straight up from there.
Okay.
And now just throw straight up. There you go. Now press down. That's it.
Oh no, that was...
Yeah. It's good. A different way of stopping. Get your hand in the right position and then throw straight up. It'll work.
I got it!
Nice one. You said before that was the best you can do, but actually that was the best you can do, I think.
Yes, but it does add another level of coordinating more things.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy.
Oh wow, this needs to go there.
All right.
I got it.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, it's cracked there. What were you saying?
Here, this is all coming apart.
Yeah.
Oh, and here, yeah, this is the, look, this is not even scratched, it's also bend.
Yeah, it's all breaking. And like I say, the whole thing is apart now. I think that's it, that's the full story. Oh yeah, no, the final story is that, like I say, yesterday me and Juliane were discussing what act I'm going to be filming or doing in an online juggling show coming up in the future. We were discussing it on the Juggling podcast, which is our podcast, which is just for our Patreon supporters. So if you want to listen to that, where we discussed this, and we're like, but I've already got a video of that. I've uploaded that years ago. It turns out I'd never uploaded it to YouTube. I put it on Vimeo, and Vimeo was just a place that I'd put things to share, like not for public, but I'd be like, hey, I've got an act, do you want to do it in the show? Will you show me a video? And so it was never really a public video that I'd shared or referenced or done anything. So that's why I uploaded that video from 2015 again. And there we go. That's it. We have a broken magnet juggling machine. So I just want to say thanks to all our Patreon supporters for inspiring the podcast and getting the podcast, and also allowing for us to work on projects like these.
To revisit old props.
Revisit old props, but also to work on things like, again, we're going to be filming some of my older routines, or not older routines, filming some other juggling acts which I've never really shared publicly. You might have seen them at 1 or 2 juggling conventions, but I'm going to be filming some of those in the upcoming few months to share at these virtual juggling conventions, online juggling conventions in the gala shows this year, which I'm looking forward to. So you can either see them in the shows, or if you become my patron, you can see the development of those projects as well, behind the scenes. A little bit like this, but actually having the real act at the end of it. So that's it. Thanks to our Patreons, and thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye.